This video is going to be about sticker sheets. Sticker sheets are stickers that we offer that have two different types of cut lines on them. There's a regular cut line, and then there's also what we call a kiss cut line, which is a shallow cut. So there's three different examples I have for you today. 90% of what we see is going to be this one at the bottom, but I also have an example at the top right here, which is just a single sticker on a sheet instead of multiple. They can range from one to, there's not really a hard limit. Um, and then this one right here just looks like a regular sticker, but if you look at it, it says sticker sheet 8.5 by 11, and then we're going to check the note, and it's going to say, please fit as many as you can on the page. So we're going to tag these. Typically with artwork like these are full bleed. So I've said no offset on both of these, and then just the regular trace script. And then this one we're going to have to manually do. So if we go ahead and download these, I've got them waiting for us in Illustrator. Okay, so we're going to start by just running the trace script, Control-Alt-G, and it'll take just a second to run. It'll run on both of these, and then we're going to dive in with this one. The first thing that we're going to do is we are going to round these corners. These are almost always full bleed when we get sticker sheets like this. So I've got the cut line, I've got the corners slightly rounded. I'm going to duplicate this cut line, and I am going to extend the bleed for this. So I'm making a stroke that we're going to increase by a couple of points until we got roughly a 1/16 of an inch. This should be more than enough. This works because we don't really have much detail bleeding off of the page. Another way you can do this is to use generative fill. If these paw prints had been all over the place, we probably would have elected to go that route, but there's just a couple at the bottom, so this should be an acceptable solution for this. So we're going to select both, and then we're going to rasterize this so that we get one image. I like to rasterize at 600 ppi and transparent. We found that this is the best setting for what we do. Okay, so now I have the cut line and I have the image on its own layer as well. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to resize this, so Control-Alt-R. Okay, perfect. So now this is the size we're working with. I'm going to duplicate the artwork, okay, and I'm going to turn off and lock the bottom layer. So this is how we're going to get the cut lines, or the kiss lines rather. I'm going to go through to edit colors, and I'm going to invert colors, okay. I have to have this selected actually, so we're going to just do that again. Edit colors, invert colors. Perfect. Okay, next step is we're going to image trace this. We're going to check the preview, and we are going to dial down the threshold. Basically, we're trying to get as much detail as we're able to. I actually might need to increase. We're trying to get the shapes and the outlines for the shapes, but not the background information on the sheet. So this is what we're looking for. So if I toggle this on and this one off, you can see that there is a texture and a background. The artist has these little paw prints. We're not trying to get those, and we're also not trying to get anything that is smaller than 1/4 of an inch by 1/4 of an inch. We're trying to basically just get the big shapes, not the crazy fine detail. And this one actually works really well because the artist has included like a bleed around the artwork, which is very helpful. Sometimes you will see that on these sticker sheets, sometimes you won't, and you just have to use your best judgment. We want to make sure that we've got at least a 1/16 of an inch border around where we're putting the cut line and where the artwork goes. So we'll turn this back on, and then we're going to select it and expand, and then we're going to start deleting out things that we do not need. I'm also going to lock the cut line so I don't accidentally mess that up. So what we need is just the basic form for these. I don't need any of this howdy partners, just the exterior shape. So we're going to go into the Pathfinder tool and we're going to hit Unite. And same with this one, Unite, Unite. The only thing that we're wanting is the exterior form. If there's information on the inside, like these little paw pads, that's going to cause issues for us, so we just want to merge these down to just their simple abstract shapes. See, we got an abstract shape in there. That's going to cause issues, so we need to make sure that gets deleted out. Perfect. Now we just have the form, which is what we're looking for. We're going to highlight this, and again, we've got another shape that we got to get rid of, and that didn't quite get it, but that did. Okay, and then we're going to highlight this, and this, and this one. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to get rid of any compound paths. So I can already see I've got two of them. It starts with the C right there. If we hit divide, unite, that'll convert it from a compound path to just a path. And then same with this one, divide, unite. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to select all of the paths, and we're going to get them outside of the group. It's important that we already have this one named cut, because once I run this next script, anything that is a vector image that is not named cut is going to be renamed. So we're going to hit Control-Alt-B as in boy, and this is going to go through and it renamed everything cut, which is what we're looking for. Perfect. So now we just want to go through and double check to make sure that we got all of the shapes. We're not missing any. We also want to make sure that there's no extra shapes, because those will get cut out and cause issues. So we're looking good so far. These are all looking good. Perfect. Okay, so these are going to get treated just like any other cut line that we do. So I've put a stroke on these, and I'm going to toggle off the image layer so that we're able to see this clearly. So basically, if it's got a deep peninsula, if it's got an acute angle, if it's got wavy areas, we try to clean it up as much as we can. These should get treated just like the other cut lines. So I can see a couple of acute angles where the cutters are going to pinch, so we're going to clean those up. We also want to simplify these. So I'm going to lock the cut layer, and then I'm going to hit I'm going to select all of these, and we're going to hit Control-Alt-S to run the simplify script. And actually, I just made a mistake, because even though I locked the layer, look what this did to our cut line. So we've got to correct that. So we're going to undo this. And we're actually going to run a different script. We're going to run the simplify selected script, which is going to be it's Control-Alt-F. So we've got everything selected that we're trying to simplify. Perfect. Looks beautiful. So from there, we've decreased the number of points. That's a very, very important step. Please don't skip that. So now that it's simplified, we're going to just try and round some of those acute angles. This one should get addressed. think there's actually 2 points there. Whoop, didn't mean to move that. All right, so we're looking good there. All right, I'm going to toggle the artwork back on. And ideally, we want to offset these just a little bit, negative offset. So I'm going to just one at a time. We'll find the one that I've got selected. Control-Alt-N. I don't think that works on kiss lines, actually. So basically, just what we're going to do is highlight them and just ever so slightly, we're going to hold the Shift button to constrain proportions and the Alt button so that it goes down from the starting point. We basically just want a tiny, tiny little sliver of a border to show through. Control-Alt-Shift. And then we're going to need to make sure that we didn't actually go into the artwork on any of these. This is a step that is specific to this design. This is not something you will need to do on every sticker sheet you do, but because the artist included a border the way they did, we're going to try and use that border. These are actually not scaling down good enough, so we're going to undo those. And there's another way we can do this. And that is we're going to go to Object, Path, Offset Path, set this to round, and you can actually set, a negative offset this way. I'm actually just going to select all of them, except for the ones named Path, because I know that those are already offset. And we're going to hit Object, Path, Offset Path. Okay, perfect. So now what I need to do is just make sure that I didn't cut into the artwork at all. So I'm going to zoom out. And we're going to toggle off the fill on all of these. And we're looking good. So I actually probably should have waited to rename everything KISS until we got to this step. But we're going to delete off the exterior paths as we no longer need those. Oh, I got the wrong one. Okay, we're looking good. It doesn't look like we have any acute angles or anything to solve. I do want to run the simplify selected again, so we're going to select all the paths, and then we're going to hit Control Alt F to run the simplify. We're looking good. That's a very important step. These take forever to cut, so we're trying to keep them as simple as possible. Then we're going to do the Control Alt B again to rename these KISS. It doesn't work if that's locked, so select the whole thing, Control Alt B. Everything's renamed KISS. Perfect. Okay, the last thing I got to do is turn off the stroke on all of these. And this is ready to export. Okay, so it's time to export this file. Before we export, we need to do just a quick check. Image should be on the top. Everything needs to be named KISS that is not the image or the cut line, and the cut line needs to be at the bottom. From here, we're going to hit Control Alt semicolon, and this will initiate the export. Takes just a second. Perfect. So that one's done. We can find it in our folder, which I have pulled up right here. And if we go to upload this, we just drag and drop. I want to point out, you can see the cut line is in green and the KISS lines are in magenta. So this looks good, 4x6, sticker sheet, accept, and submit. Perfect. Okay, so that one is done. We can go back and finish up the other two. Okay, so this is the next one. This is another sticker sheet. This is much more simple though. As you can see, we've got the cut line from the image trace that we already ran. And then this is the part that they want to have the KISS cut. They've actually included what they would like the cut line to be. We may have to modify that slightly, but we will worry about that when we get there. First thing I'm going to do is resize this, Control Alt R, so this is a little bit easier to work with. Perfect. The next thing I'm going to do is we have to figure out what we are doing with the cut line, because as it stands right now, there is not a bleed on this, and it is not really conducive to put a bleed on here, because you can see they've intentionally got part of the artwork cut off, like this part of the top part of the @ symbol. So we could go into a photo editor and try and make this full bleed, but what makes more sense for this one is to just expand the cut line. So probably 3 or 4 times hitting Control Alt J, maybe one more. Okay, perfect. Okay, so there's the border for this one. So we have our cut line figured out, so we can lock this so that we don't accidentally delete it when we are doing the image trace. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to duplicate the image, and we're going to lock the original and turn it off, and we're going to trace this image to get our KISS lines. So we're going to lock this and toggle it off, and then we're going to go into the image trace tool, and we're going to check preview on. And we're going to have to adjust the threshold a little bit to try and pull that black line out so that we're able to see. There we go. Perfect. There it is. There's probably not quite enough of a border on this, so we are going to have to tweak this slightly, but in the meantime we can start by just expanding this. We're going to turn off this cut line so that I can see what we've deleted off and what we haven't, and then we're going to delete most of this off because we don't really need it. Be careful to not delete your cut line. That's a mistake that can happen when you do this. Okay, so perfect. We more or less have the shape that we're looking for. Delete this one out. We'll go into the group, and we just want to check that we don't need any of these because we can't have any extra artifacts or anything on this cut line. It'll mess up the export process. So this compound path we need. This inside one we don't. And we don't need that. Okay, so we have one compound path, right? Remember, we're not able to use compound paths, so this needs to be a single path. So we're going to open the Pathfinder tool. We're going to hit divide, unite, divide, and that will put this into one single path, which is what we're looking for. From here, I'm going to turn on the artwork layer. And we are going to turn on the cut layer. So here we're actually going to have to modify this a little bit because you can see we have ample space in between the design and the cut line, but we do not have ample space between the backer part of the design and the cut line. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to duplicate this cut line. And we're going to lock the original and make sure that it's turned off. The next thing that we're going to do is turn that on, and we are going to swap this to a, need to make sure it's selected. We want the stroke on and not the fill. From here, we are going to increase the stroke. I'm going to open up the stroke palette. And we want to add this to the outside, and that is too much. And I actually want to use the eyedropper and pull the color, the exact color that the underside of that is. And we're going to toggle that to the stroke, and then we're going to open the stroke palette, expanding only on the outside, not on the inside. And we're doing that because we don't need to add space to the inside. If we do that, we're going to cut into the artwork. There are situations where you will want to align the stroke either to the inside or to the center. It really depends on the use case. For this one, since we're trying to expand the stroke outward, we just want it on the outside. 0.139. Missing a 0.17. And we're just kind of eyeballing this. Another thing we could do is we could use the Control-Alt-J for just expand. It will give you this error since we have the cut line locked, but that is what we're looking for. But again, see, it merges to a compound path. So we're going to have to go into the Pathfinder tool, and we're going to hit divide, unite, divide. And then we're going to have to toggle that back to stroke and not to fill. So I'm seeing something on this one, and this is lined up on the top. We are going to have to adjust this a little bit because I had initially thought, we could just lay this over the top of the design, but as you can see, I think this happened when I did the just expand. It expanded far enough out for what I need it for, but now it is not. We've got this purple gap. We also have this cut line, and we need to try and cover both of those. So we're going to select the path. We're going to go into stroke, and we're going to align this one to the inside. Actually, we're going to have to align this to both. And we're going to have to increase the weight. Okay, so now you can see we've covered up that line that was initially there. We've expanded the border so that the cut line divides this nicely and doesn't cause any issues being too close to the artwork or too close to the backer. I'm turning this cut line on, but I'm going to turn the fill off so that we can see how it splits the design. Perfect. Okay. So now the last thing that we have to do is we have to merge these. So this has got to be one layer. So that the white stroke that we just did and the artwork, we got to select both of them. And then we're going to go to Object, Rasterize, 600 Transparent. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now that's on one layer, which is what we're looking for. I want to make sure that this rasterized correctly because I'm seeing a little bit of an artifact. Okay, so we have to redo that rasterize. So we're gonna undo. Toggle that on and off to make sure that it doesn't okay. Object, rasterize, white. Okay, that's better. Okay, from here, this is going to be ready to go. So if you run into issues like that in the future, it could be your rasterizing too high, so you might need to, you play with the options, you turn from transparent to white, you can turn the rasterization up or down however you need it. This is going to be good for purposes of this demonstration. So the last step is we got to unlock these, and then this has got to get named KISS, K-I-S-S. You could use the script for that, Control Alt B, but we really only need the one renamed, so I feel it's easier to just type that. And then from here it's Control Alt semicolon. And that one is ready to export. Okay, we can see okay, so this is not giving me the option to accept it, and the reason is because this needs to be 6 by 4, and it is currently 6.17 by 4.25. So when I expanded that exterior cut line, we needed to resize it again, and we didn't. So it's too big, so it won't give us the option to accept. So what I need to do in situations like this is I need to pull the name from the original download. So I'm going to do that by selecting this, copying this, and then we're going to open up that file in Illustrator. And we need to change the name. So we're going to save as, save on your computer. I'm going to just do this to the desktop. If there's somewhere you're more comfortable saving it to, that's fine, so long as it's not the source folder. And it gets renamed what it originally was. Preserve Illustrator capability, editing capabilities, and we're going to hit OK. All right. So from here, we can look at the note. That's problematic. We don't need a layer. We just need a sublayer. So we're going to adjust that. And then we're also going to hit Control Alt R, which is going to resize this to 4 by 6. And that's why we had to save that name so that it will save that correctly. It'll also export correctly. So now we're again Control Alt semicolon. And we should be able to export this now. So we're going to reject the original one. This is the updated one. 6 by 4. 6 by 4 gives us the option to accept, reject. Here is the magenta KISS line. Here is the green cut line. Accept. This is good to go. Submit proof. Okay, so we have one last one, and this one is a little bit different than the ones that we've done in the past. You'll see this is a 8.5 by 11 sticker sheet that has one sticker on it. And the note said to fit as many onto the sheet as you can. So the first thing that we are going to need to do is create the cut line for this. This is a manual cut line as well, which is another layer of complexity. So we're just going to make a cut line like we would any other design, duplicate it. We're going to lock it so I don't accidentally mess up the original. We're going to hit the preview. I definitely want more information than that. Okay, that is looking good for the most part. We do have a couple of issues with this. Um, we're going to expand this. We're going to delete out the background. We're going to go to the group, and we are going to merge this. So this is all one path. I'm going to put a stroke on it so that I can see what I'm working with. If we turn the fill off so we can still see the stroke, we can see that there needs to be a border on this because this goes right up to the artwork. So we either need to extend the artwork or we need to put a border on it. For this use case, and I'll explain why we're going to put a border on it. So we're going to hit Control-Alt-J. And obviously hitting this several times because we're wanting a little bit of a border on this. We also have this really deep inlet, which we're not trying to have. So I'm going to go to the ellipse tool. We're going to expand this out. And then Control-Alt-A, which is going to merge all the paths to one cut line. So this is what we're looking for. We're going to hit Control-Alt-S to simplify this. And same thing applies with every, sticker sheet as does with the die cut, any other type of sticker. We got to make sure there's no acute angles, no deep inlets, all of that good stuff. So right here, it looks like there's a little bit of a sharp point, which we've rounded out. It looks as much as we can with the widget tool. As long as it's rounded, that should be all right. Just checking for any other super sharp points. This one's probably got to get addressed. All right, that's looking good. Okay, Control R. I'm going to turn on the rulers. All right, so now we're working again in inches, which is important because that's what the file defaults to. We do need to resize this. but we're not able to run the resize script because it's going to pull from the sticker sheet and not from the actual artwork. So in situations like this, what we're going to do is we're going to resize the cut line. So when somebody is wanting stickers put onto a sheet, uh, often they will leave a note on what size they want the stickers to be. This one did not leave a note. So in cases where we do not have the information on how big the stickers are supposed to be, we're going to resize these so that the smallest side rather, is going to be 1.5 inches. So I want to make sure that the portions are constrained, and we're going to type in 1.5. And that is the size of the cut line. So now we're going to scale down the artwork so that it fits in that cut line. We have to unlock this. That's probably a little bit too much border, so we're going to expand this out just a little bit. We're holding the Control and the Alt key to make sure that this scales proportionately. And that's what we're looking for. Okay, perfect. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to make a shape. So rounded rectangle tool. We're going to go into properties. And this we're going to make 11 by 8.5. And we want to make sure constraint proportions is not checked for that one. Okay, so if we zoom out, we should be able to see our sheet. Yep, and I actually did this backwards. We do these 8.5 wide, unless the customer specifies otherwise, 8.5 wide by 11 tall. Okay. So now we are going to lock the what I have listed as the cut line. We actually need to rename this to be KISS. But we're going to lock the rounded rectangle. I'm going to dull those corners just a little bit. So that's locked. We're going to drag this into place. All right. And then if you hold down the Alt key and the Shift key, it'll duplicate it. And then if you hold Alt D, or Control D rather, basically, you're just trying to continue to duplicate these. So if you hold Alt and Shift and drag, Alt, Shift, drag, and we want to make sure that they are proportionately aligned. So it looks like we can only fit 4 how it currently stands. We want to try and, we don't want to get too close to the cut line, but if we're able to fit, whoops, and I'm moving the artwork. So you got to be very careful that we're not doing that. So we need the artwork and the corresponding cut line to be selected at the same time. to move it over. We can't have the lines too close to each other either. That causes issues. So just make sure that you're leaving roughly a 1/16 of an inch in between the artwork and the, in between the kiss lines, rather. We're going to select all of these and we're going to bring it a little bit closer. Again, we want to leave at least a 1/16 of an inch. Bring this in a little bit. And just like that, we can select all of these, and then we're going to Alt click and hold down the Shift key. And again. And again. I'm using these little smart guides on the side, these little magenta bars, to line these up proportionately. And I don't think we're going to be able to fit another row. It's pretty close. So I'm actually going to undo, and I'm going to try to line these up a little bit closer and see if I can fit one more row on here. See, that's too close. That should be good, and it does look like we closed that gap a little bit. So Alt, drag, look for the guide. We are just a little too close on the bottom, but if I select all of them, bump it up just a little bit, there we go. Okay, perfect. All right. So this rectangle, we're going to name this kiss, or cut rather, and we're going to do this so that it doesn't get messed up when we run the Control-Alt-B script, which is going to rename everything kiss that needs to be kiss. We actually had already renamed them before we duplicated everything, but if we hadn't, if we run that script right there, it would have renamed everything how we needed it to be. So the last step on this, we've got the cut on its own layer, we've got the kiss lines all on their own layer. We do need to go through and select all the images, and we need to rasterize the images onto one layer. So anything that says image, we've got to select, holding down the Control key. object rasterize, 600, transparent. Okay, so that put everything on one image layer, which is what we need. The last thing is we need to turn off all of these strokes. We don't need these when we export. Okay, and then we're gonna hit Control Alt R, which resizes it, and from there it's Control Alt semicolon. And this is 854 that we're uploading. There's the proof. There's the, we can see the cut line and the kiss lines. We're going to hit accept and submit. And that is how you make sticker sheets.